Assassin's Creed Remake. Which one do you want most? Black Flag, something before, where you were actually an assassin once again? It could be big.
The Assassin's Creed series is making a big comeback, and we have some exciting news. Following the success of Assassin's Creed Shadows, despite all the controversy, the Assassin's Creed
Where is the success? Where is the 10 million copies sold? Where is even a million copies sold? I don't see it. We are probably 6 months away from Ubisoft officially announcing that Assassin's Creed Shadows No was actually an objective failure.
franchise is not going anywhere, especially following the big influx of money that they got from Tencent. The next expansion for Assassin's Creed Shadows has been
The big influx of money from Tencent was to pay off their debt. It's not actually an influx of money, it's to pay off debt. And we don't even know what's going to happen here because the shareholders are suing Ubisoft for this Tencent deal that they're not getting anything out of.
revealed, the Claws of Awaji, and we have Assassin's Creed codename Hex coming, but there's another project in the works that could be coming a lot sooner. And it's all been something that we've been waiting a long time for, and that is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. Today, we're going to be breaking down everything we know so far about the rumored remake, as well as where it lands in the Assassin's Creed roadmap that was recently revealed. We have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing.
People are talking about the Black Flag game being remade, and most people are kind of certain it's going to happen. But there is one thing. Remember Skull and Bones? Yeah, neither do I. But in any case, that is a pirate game, and Ubisoft is actually putting some resources into that absolute god abandoned monstrosity of a failure. And well, do you really think they're gonna bring back Assassin's Creed Black Flag so it can just, take a shit on the decaying corpse of Skull and Bones? Yeah, that's kind of a hard sell, honestly. Or maybe they do that and say, hey, if you play this game and when you get the ship riding, it's like, hey, here's a. Have you heard about Skull and Bones ad? If you like ships and piratey things, how about you play the Skull and Bones game where 50% of your crew is women and things?
And also,
You get to loot magical treasures like nails and wood and seaweed. I'm not even kidding. Like in the pirate game that is Skull and Bones, the best loot that you can loot from a place is like cannonballs. Because yeah, no loot in a pirate game.
so as all of you know, several trusted gaming insiders have reported that the fact that Ubisoft seems to be working on a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag alongside a co-developer known as Virtuos, who just recently helped Oblivion Remastered get developed. I think their reasoning for the remake is a really easy way to get some good
God, I am 100% convinced if they remake this game, they're gonna swap out 50% of your crew for women. 100%. Again, these remakes succeed because the old companies, the old Ubisoft, the old Bethesda, the old Blizzard, were good companies that made good games. Now they're just shadows of their former selves. Okay? That's what they are. They are incapable of doing anything. And I am 100% convinced that Ubisoft, if they're making a Black Flag remake, they're gonna try and add a little bit of that secret woke spice on it.
goodwill from the community after a very few rough years. And there have been a ton of rumors about the Assassin's Creed remakes for years now, but this is the first time that it seems like there is some legitimate weight behind them, with none other than Tom Henderson reporting on it and offering a ton of details about the project. So according to some recent rumors that may or may not end up being true, the project is actually being handled by the studio outside of Ubisoft and is one you actually may be familiar with, like I said, and that is Virtuos. So in case you didn't know the name right off the top of your head, Virtuos currently is working on the MGS3 remake and recently released the remaster of Elder Scrolls Oblivion 4. So they've been making a pretty massive name for themselves in the world of updating classic games and making them more appealing to modern gamers with better graphics, lighting, and performance. So even though this remake
I mean, the performance part is not really accurate, to be honest, but hey.
supposedly isn't being fully handled in-house, it definitely is in good hands. But what kind of remake is Assassin's Creed Black Flag going to be? Is it going to be a faithful one-to-one remake of the original game but with updated graphics? Or is it going to be a reimagining with new mechanics and gameplay? Well, according to early reports, it's going to be
By the way, I think it's wild. Assassin's Creed Black Flag again seems like an easy choice for remake, right? It stood out and it was, well, it definitely just stood out the most. But I think they're gonna remake older title. Because again, you may not know this, but Assassin's Creed used to be about, stealth gameplay and being an assassin and shit. Not some kind of empowered being who just, slams villages.
somewhere in the middle, kind of like how Oblivion is. Obviously, it's going to look incredible with a ton of effort put into making it as realistic as possible, and the original game already looks great, so there's really no worries about that. But there will be gameplay tweaks, some that are large and some that are smaller. According to the reports, the remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag will feature most of the same gameplay and world design, but it will also feature new combat mechanics and wildlife systems to make the open world more immersive. Now, some people were a bit split on this news when it first broke because a lot of people thought that the original doesn't need to be changed and they don't want it to be changed, while others think that there is totally room for improvements. So some other details about the development: it's currently being developed by Ubisoft Singapore that is heavily involved alongside Virtuos. Now, they have Ubisoft Singapore due to their expertise in the naval combat and ocean technology from the previous game Skull and Bones that they did. Now the
Are you kidding me? Skull and Bones is literally one of the objectively worst games of the decade. It does nothing right. And you're telling me, oh, it's gonna be... Dude, if they're gonna allow Ubisoft Singapore to do this, it's over. They're gonna probably mess it up.
The project is also codenamed Obsidian, and it's said to be well underway. There's been reports that it's been in the early stages of development since June of 2023. Now, this remake is also going to be more than a visual upgrade, like I said earlier, and it's reportedly using an upgraded version of Ubisoft's Anvil engine, the one featured from Assassin's Creed Shadows. So that's exciting. That game looks absolutely amazing, and we should expect new enhanced combat mechanics, new systems for wildlife. Like I said, the game is going to have improved naval combat and ship-based exploration, kind of building on the original game's mechanics. So yeah, reports are claiming that Ubisoft is treating the
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that this is gonna be a good video, but I'm slowly hearing a lot more things that are giant red flags and problems than anything else.
Black Flag remake as a fully fledged AAA project, and they don't want people to see it as just a remake from the Xbox 360 era. Ubisoft wants Black Flag to redefine what...
Bro, is Ubisoft just gonna make Black Flag go woke effectively and that's it? Listen, the Oblivion remake was a success because Bethesda didn't really touch anything and modernized anything, okay? They just added the leveling system from Skyrim. That's it. The only thing that Ubisoft tried to modernize in the Oblivion remake was body type A and body type B, and quickly millions of people disliked that. When you're making a remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it, like this, you can't actually like do shit with it because the previous you was successful in aspects. The new you is detrimental, heinous, and unlikable, and most importantly, bad at making games. So you shouldn't touch anything, Ubisoft.
can be done with a video game remake, and they are really trying to figure out the boundaries of how far they can go with the gameplay and world updates without losing the spirit and vibe of the original game. So yeah, you'll have to let me know in the comments how you feel about this, because I'm kind of split as well. I would love to see Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake updated with new mechanics, because I do think there was some room for improvement in the original, but at the same time I can see why people are getting a bit nervous about such a beloved game getting altered in any way. This is the kind of thing that developers need to be really careful about. But with that being said, the changes that Virtuos recently made to the gameplay of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion in that remaster, and those were largely praised, so they seem to know what they're doing when it comes to tweaking existing games and making them better. Despite
Again, they just literally took something from Skyrim, the leveling system, which people liked, including myself, and they just added it there instead of whatever system previously existed, because that system was bad. Let's be real, it was bad. And that's it. That's it. Also, I don't think that was Virtuos's actual thing. Virtuos just makes the engine and things look nicer and shit.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag not officially being announced by Ubisoft just yet, there are many credible leaks surrounding it that a lot of people believe that it's actually going to be released by the end of 2025. The first thing we have is the CEO, who has said that there's many remakes that are currently in the works, and according to insidergaming.com, they actually revealed a roadmap that is based on inside information about what is coming to the Assassin's Creed franchise. So in their article, they said at the time of writing, this is what the Assassin's Creed roadmap currently looks like, and they refrain from putting exact release dates as the Shadows delay has altered the release dates, but generally speaking, they're in order of release. The first game we can expect is called Assassin's Creed Jade, and Jade is the Assassin's Creed game set in China and is supposed to be the next game to release. And then we have Assassin's Creed Invictus.
I mean, to be absolutely fair, Assassin's Creed Jade does sound kind of believable because, well, Ubisoft might as well try to appease to the China market, considering Shadows failed. I wonder how they're gonna ruin China.
Which Invictus is the working title for an
And by the way, if they ruin China, it's gonna be a lot worse, because China is not about wokeisms at all.
Assassin's Creed Fall Guys inspired game where players will complete in matches of 16. The next game is codename Obsidian. Now this is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, and they said it's being rebuilt on the new Anvil engine. Obsidian is expected to launch around the same time as Invictus. And then we have Assassin's Creed codename.
Doesn't that sound impossible? Invictus' working title for Assassin's Creed Fall Guys inspired game. That sounds stupid. The players will complete matching of 16 individuals, blah blah blah. That's 5 years plan. Okay.
And then we have Assassin's Creed codename Hex, which is originally codenamed Neo. AC Hex is still the working name and is scheduled to release after Shadows support ends. AC Shadows is scheduled to have around 2 years of DLC support, and Hex will have about 1 year of DLC support. And then we have Assassin's Creed Scarlet, which Scarlet is the next big RPG after Shadows, and it will release after Hex support ends, which is like 1 year. Tom Henderson said he hasn't been able to pinpoint further details.
All of this sounds bad, I'm not gonna lie. All of this sounds rushed, uninspired, and, well, dreadful, to be honest.
About what this game is, but it has been greenlit.
So, what are we expecting? Zero changes from game to game, honestly? More painting pictures, like in Shadows, because reasons?
And has entered production. He said, my speculation is that it's Assassin's Creed Nebula, which is a game that will take place in 3 different settings: India, the Mediterranean, and the Aztec Empire. And then for the next remake we have is called Star.
That sounds even stupider, because no, all of this sounds insane, okay? If Ubisoft actually plans to do any of this, I think that's insanity. You're gonna put in India and the Aztec Empire in the same game? And the Mediterranean? All of those are standalone releases, honestly. Shit, and we're not getting Assassin's Creed Egypt?
Stardust, which is the second remake in development and will enter production following Obsidian's release. And then we have Codename Emerald. Emerald will launch shortly after Stardust within a couple of months, and it will be another multiplayer title with at least a 5-year plan if the game succeeds. We then have RPG 3 that currently doesn't have a code name or any developer or theme attached to it, but it's penciled in to release after Scarlet's 2 years of support.
Okay, yeah, this is what I was starting to think, that all of this is just bullshit. Another scam by Ubisoft to make investors not be miserable, or maybe to pump up the stock price just a little bit because they have a plan. So they don't actually have a plan. The idea that Ubisoft, the company that's literally on the verge of bankruptcy and being sold off, cannot have plans for this many games. Typically, these big studios are doing 2 games at a time. They do one, and then the people from that game go to another game on the new game working that was already in pre-production and shit like that. But none of this seems reasonable.
And finally, we have Remake 3, which also currently doesn't have a codename, developer, or game, but it will be a remake that will release approximately 1 year after RPG
Yeah, all of this is complete fluff.
G3's release. Insider Gaming then said it can be assumed if Ubisoft finds the remake/multiplayer game launched Synergy successful around this time that another multiplayer game will also release, but currently that's not planned as we're now in 2030/2031 by this point. So if I were to guess, I would say that Ubisoft is planning on revealing the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake during this summer showcase and then dropping it later in the year. Now that GTA 6 is not coming out in 2025, it kind of gives them plenty of room to release the Black Flag remake sometime this year, which supposedly is going to be in September or October. And even though Microsoft and Bethesda just got a ton of mileage out of shadow dropping their
Wait, game has water physics? No Assassin's Creed game after this had them.
remaster of Oblivion, I don't think that's
I think. Well, at least the newest ones didn't.
quite what Ubisoft speed is going to be. Plus, Assassin's Creed Shadows came out earlier this year, and I think the publisher wants to create some kind of distance between that game and Black Flag for pretty obvious reasons. They don't want to oversaturate the market with Assassin's Creed games because that's the whole reason the franchise needed to be rebooted in the first place. But with Ubisoft's summer showcase coming up, it seems very likely that the remake will be announced there. The publisher wants to keep the hype going after Assassin's Creed Shadows was pretty successful, and the best way to do that is with a remake of what many people consider to be the best game in the series. Sure, Assassin's Creed Codename Hex is still in development, and they may want to show that off in some new gameplay or information, but ultimately that's not going to be as big of a slam dunk as the
I don't know. A lot of this sounds really stupid. A lot of this sounds like something that's already gonna fail. I mean, just remake an Assassin's Creed with, probably not Black Flag considering. Well, again, maybe they use Assassin's Creed Black Flag as a way to try and funnel like 5 peoples into Skull and Bones, which is probably gonna fail. But still, I guess whatever. Anyway, that was Best Nemo 10 out of 10. Bye.